We're doing an LP soon which will consist of some songs with good stories and some melodies and voices instrument exercises. This LP will fill up the rubbish bin or clog up the coffee table like those other 73 revival LPs masquerading under various new wave trademarks, but will put a bit of intelligence back into the scene as usual. All the groups imitate us, but they always underrate us. I don't think I should shut up about bands presently making a mint out of full rip-offs, but they've got to live with themselves, and I wouldn't like to do that.
Yeah, we are the fall and we are the best. Yeah, we are the fall and we are the best. Yeah, we are the fall and we are the best.
When I started buying records, the ones I liked were the ones I could only half understand. What I don't like about a lot of records today is that they're too clear. There's no fascination or mystery left. This culture where you have to explain everything all the time, what you're doing, puts a clamp on you. It's a bit of a trap. I'm Gavin.
I'm Steve.
And that was Mark E. Smith talking about music he likes and the type of undecipherable music he likes.
Today we're going to listen to the album Grotesque, released in November 1980.
The Fall's third full-length album, right? Yeah. And this one is interesting to me, because I think this is the one where they kind of expand their, not only the sound, but Mark expands his, what we like to call his instrument. And he starts using his instrument in different ways. But not only that, they start to expand the use of the studio on his instrument and start to use some different stylings on his voice, which I think is needed, and also it's cool to hear them branch out after, especially after Dragnet, the last album, where they were pretty much, Mark told them, no reverb, right? No compression, no effects. How straightforward can we get and direct can we get, where it still sounds like us performing live, which was really kind of the core of it. Yeah, so this one, so Grotesque, and we'll talk about the album cover too and how it reflects the band's sound at this point. But I think this one is, especially compared to Dragnet, this one is where they're starting to use a little bit more of the color palette. And even the instrumentation has a lot more variation. Like we get a lot more acoustic instruments, a lot more of maybe overdubs and backing instrumentation that we haven't heard at this point in the Fall's career. How do you like this one?
Yeah, I thought it was.
Overall?
Yeah, I thought it's a good album. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Is that there's definitely a lot more instrumentation. There's a lot more. I think other band members are involved a lot more, which you can hear in the songs and kind of.
It does seem that way.
Yeah, it makes them more interesting and definitely. Just like you said, expands what they are and what they are growing into a little bit more.
And know what we get on this one? We can see the growth in the band in this variation of the band. We see them use tempo changes, which up to this point have been extremely rare, right? Like there's multiple songs on here, not just one, where we would only get one on some of the previous full lengths, but there's multiple songs on here where they change tempos or they let the song fall apart and then like kick into another gear, which is, I think, something you probably, I'm just assuming, got a lot more in a live setting. Maybe not, but I feel like it's a technique that Mark was able to employ. But maybe when they're in the studio, it was really about getting it on record with the edge that he wanted to get out of the band. So that might have been more important to like have the energy and on the recording than actually try to switch it up and maybe get a little bit more complex than the band was really ready to or used to doing.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely is not the same monotonous, sound that you're used to.
So the album we're going to be talking about today is Grotesque, After the Gramme. And I wonder, what type of Gramme is he talking about here?
Didn't they win a Grammy? Isn't that right?
Yeah, I believe I think you're right. They won a Grammy for this one. Or maybe they won a Grammy recently and this is after the Gramme. They can put out something, this artistic. They gave them the hits on the previous one. Now they're getting a little bit more experimental with it, as Mark likes to put. And to get experimental, but, don't try to explain it to the audience. Let the audience explain it for themselves, which is why we're here, which is our job. The Gramme makes them grotesque. After the Gramme?
After the Gramme. I mean, it's spelled Gramme. So, I'm not English, so I don't really know how, as an American, I don't use the metric system.
I looked it up and and I was totally lost. I'm still lost. How much is that? Where do I find it? How do I get the Gramme? Or maybe he's ahead of it. He was ahead of the game all along about in everything Gramme related. I think we should talk about, paying your bills. What do you say?
Let's pay your rates. Song number 1. I mean, I think it sets you up for what's to come ultimately. Kind of like we mentioned before, the different tempos, starting out slow, kind of typical sound, and then moving into that punk sound where it gets you going, gets you up off your feet a little bit.
Yeah, the tempo changes in this, really catch my ear. But then I was listening to this one today. I was listening to this album again today, and the vocals are like right in your face, and they're very dry and they're very pretty. I'm gonna say they're kind of similar, maybe just a little bit more clean than the Dragnet vocals, where Mark is always pretty much there. Sometimes it's mixed in better, but you feel like you're going to get, I almost felt like I was going to get something that was going to be traditional fall for the rest of the album after hearing this song, but then you don't really, you get Mark, even in this song alone, you get him yelping, you get the good Mark yelps, but then at one point, do you catch it? At one point, he almost like breaks into a little laugh, he almost like has a little break in his, like something amuses him and he breaks and he almost has a little chuckle in there, but then he maybe even turns it into another yelp. But I like that a lot. And then the line that always gets me too, or that I appreciate is, if your rate's too high, put your life on this bit of paper. That's just, I don't know what. That just sums it up, just put it, if your rate's too high, send a letter. What does he say? Send a snotty letter to, send a snotty letter. You better sign this letter. You better put your life on this bit of paper. Just, put your worth on this bill and submit.
Right, yes.
Submit.
Put it on the credit. You'll pay it someday.
Yeah. Pay the
like,
government.
seeing what, as always, he's a classic, blue collar sort of guy where he does see what the regular folks are dealing with and living with on a daily basis. And, he can put it into words pretty well.
Yeah, the slice of life that most people are deal with this type of, it's a mundane thing to pay your bills, right? Or even to protest your bills. But
yeah, be concerned about your bills,
be concerned
right?
about your
Worried the
bills.
water bill's coming in this month.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and this month is higher than expected, and is that rock and roll content? Is that a rock and roll thing? No, total. It's not. It's not glitzy. It's not glamorous, but that makes it even more rock and roll. That it has the everyday nature to it, and the energy in the delivery of the vocals on here is good. I mean, it's fitting. There's a little bit of anger, there's a little bit of anxiety, and then the guitars. The guitars are some of my favorite because it does have this, and it's going to go through the rest of the album where the guitar is just slowly just dropping notes as it's coming to what you could call a slight bridge into the chorus or into the verse again. Not really a chorus, is it? It's kind of just kind of verse, a different verse.
Yeah, the guitars definitely play a bigger role in this, and maybe the musicians are just getting better, and Mark's appreciating them a little bit more. Even speaking of that, typical fall, we do have a new member. Paul Hanley is now on the drums. It is
brother Paul.
Brother Steve Hanley, the bassist brother, is now on the drums.
And I should
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark E. Smith picks up a kazoo, so he's that'll be
he plays the kazoo.
He plays the kazoo coming up here in a couple songs, so that should be fun.
I didn't catch that on all of my previous listens, but okay. I mean, I know. I do. Actually, now I do.
Now you remember it.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know that was him soloing like that. It's pretty good.
It's not a bad kazoo. You wouldn't think you'd appreciate it, but
they could have easily put well, I'll wait for it, but they could have easily put their signature synth keyboard sound. Sure,
random mash the keys down for a little bit.
Yeah, but they did the kazoo, which is good. That might have been a nice post pub purchase on the way to the studio.
Sure, something to keep Mark near the microphone and not messing around with the instrument.
Keep his hands occupied. Keep his mouth occupied. You get that kazoo in there. Yeah, that's great. And then and Paul Hanley, I gotta say, and actually, I think we have to discuss this, because we have gotten a little bit of flack from our fan base, little feedback about us in the previous episodes slagging off old Mike Lee, second drummer for technically probably second official, but maybe third in the rankings. Mike Lee, his drumming style was not, I guess, looked upon kindly by us in some comments, and got some angry messages about not treating him with respect. So
I mean, less disrespect to him and more just appreciation for his predecessor.
For Carl. Yeah, I agree. I think that's it. It's all relative, and in that case, there's just a better fit, right? And so I think at this point, you should probably officially, apologize to Mike Lee's, whatever family member contacted us from Mike Lee's family.
Mike, you're a great musician, and I appreciate your contribution to musical history.
Agreed.
Does appear maybe it was him. He's alive and he's 80, unless this is a different Mike Lee.
Well, whatever Mike Lee is still out there, we'd love to have you on soon. We do apologize, and we will say you are one of the top fall drummers. Within the top, I'd say within the top 12 to 14 drummers in the rankings, easily. So I apologize. I apologize to Mike Lee's cousin. And this will not happen again because I don't think he is in any of the following incarnations of the fall that we will be discussing. So we just had to address that, clear the air, and we're always respectful of any fall member that feels like they've been slighted. Just let us know, and we will address it accordingly. So with that, I think we've paid our
respects.
We've paid our respects, and we've paid our rates adequately. So, what do you feel like we should move on to?
I mean, I think we need to figure out a way to get some money to pay these water bills, and nothing better than a good old English game.
Okay, English game. This one, what I need to know is how do the fall always get this signature sounding keyboard sound, even though I know it's different keyboards and it's also different keyboard players, and I just need to know, like, how particular. We know Mark's particular, but how particular do you have to be to get in the vein of this same keyboard sound consistently? Because it's just, it's so shitty. It's so playful and toy-like.
Yeah, I was gonna say it gave me the vibes of off Dragnet, the Choco Stock song, where you're like you wanna the Choco Stock where you're
That's
just kind
playful too. Yeah,
you're bopping around, you're feeling good. Like, it's not a typical sound you get out of them, but when it hits you in the middle, you're like, oh, I'm bopping my head to this. This is weird.
This one is especially fun because it's like actually melodic. It's got it's like a little game. It's like a little game show, like entrance music or something. It's really playful, isn't it? But I don't know. I'm just so curious that who's it's got to be Mark or that's asking for that. Who's like, no, it's got to be more fucked up. It's got to be more distorted. Like, is there a way where you can take out one of the batteries and it still works?
Can you put one in backwards?
Yeah. We need to make it sound like it's dying, but it's playing it's a happy riff that it's a nice juxtaposition between those two things.
If I wanted a piano, I would get a piano. I want this keyboard to sound weird.
Yeah. If I wanted a session player, I get a session player. You're gonna play these 4 notes and make something like that's a nice melody that we can all get into and have a little bop in the studio, have a little fun time. Do you have any good? Do you have any favorite lines, lyrics in this one that stick out to you?
It's a good song because it's fast, right? Like, there's no.
It's the right length, right?
Later on, you get the repetitiveness a little bit more, and this one you don't get any of it. It's just straight through.
Yeah,
you're bopping along. I like your psychotic big brother who left home. He's always not sure what actually goes on in Mark's life, but
yeah. Well, there's gonna always be some sort of psychotic figure in Mark's life, definitely, that he's gonna seek out or that's gonna be attracted to him like a magnet.
Yeah, and I mean, I know he was a big family man. Like, I know he did go home and visit his mom and his sisters.
His mom,
and things like that, where
yep. And his sister did make this cover, which we'll talk about too. But one of the lines that I like a lot is, you got 60-hour weeks and stone toilet back gardens. Now, it should be apparent by now that we are both not British people of a British, maybe of descent in some way, but some things are not going to be apparent to us, which Mark is completely fine with. And actually, we know Mark actually appreciates. It doesn't need to be explained, right? But I feel like I'm missing some things which make some of the meanings, my interpretation of these, more fun. Because
just imagining what it means to me versus what it actually meant.
What are stone toilet back gardens? Like, I am actually being pretty literal in my visualization of this, where I'm picturing, there's like an extra, like an outhouse kind of, made of stone back there, and maybe it's kind of decaying, and actually now there's actually flowers or some sort of foliage growing in it. That's kind of what I'm picturing. It gives me a nice, after the psychotic brother moves out, that's a nice image.
My whole backyard is a stone toilet pretty much to me, so.
As it should, master of your domain. Yeah, as it should be. And I'm sure your neighbors appreciate that too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Got a fence.
I mean, honestly, pretty much all of Chicago is a stone toilet.
Oh, yeah. The rats appreciate it.
The rats started it. To be honest, the rats pretty much started that. This one also has Mark. This is what I'm talking about, though. This song has Mark's vocals, and at different moments they add a bunch of reverb as like the little connecting words, just to make his voice pop out more, and it's good. It's great production, and actually, who produced this? Does it say?
It was Grant Showbiz.
Yeah, Grant Showbiz, who we talked about. Yeah. And Mayo Thompson.
Some other, I was going to say Mayo Thompson and Jeff Travis, at least on side one. And then Mayo Thompson left for side two, it looks like.
Actually, I did read that Grant Showbiz and Mayo Thompson came and produced some tracks. And I guess Mark asked Grant, hey, how do you feel about, I don't think he said, how do you feel? But he pretty much said, hey, next time, why don't you just not invite Mayo Thompson back? Yeah. Why don't you? How about next time you don't bring him? Pretty much. And so he got the
the classic fall. The classic fall. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, he might have even asked Jeff Travis, the producer. I might be having it mixed up, but either way. Yeah, Mark was not feeling that sort of vibe. And so, we got Jeff Travis in the fall producing majority of this album. Yeah, so, this is a good second track. Good second track. I also kind of a surprise, because I kind of expect a second track at this point from Mark and the gang to be a little bit more challenging. And this one, definitely accessible. Why don't we move on to something maybe a little more challenging in length? New Face in Hell.
Enthusiast intercepts government secret radio band and uncovers secrets and scandals of deceitful type proportions.
What catches your ear on this one?
Well, of course, the kazoo.
The kazoo is prevalent. I don't know how that got past me. I just assumed it was the keyboard again, but it is. It is the buzzing. Mark, pulling out the new tricks.
I also like how quickly he read most of the, he sang most
story?
of the story. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I imagine him, I hope it was all done in one take where he's puffing away at the kazoo and then he has to hurry up and take a deep breath and go through his lyrics real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And this delivery too is where he's just spewing the lyrics, right? Like telling the story, like you're saying, and they're just flowing out, and he's doing it. And I don't know, when I hear this, I hear a lot of modern indie bands that are around right now that are very much doing exactly this delivery, you know, where he's talking, he's not singing, he's talking, speaking a bunch of semi-abstract lines of maybe a linear story. And this one, I think you can follow this one, right? Like how the neighbor is, witnesses a homicide of his, finds a dead body of his neighbor. And, it's a good story to deliver in that way where you're just like trying to keep up. But then also in this song, there's so much space. Mark actually kind of takes a back seat to the instrumentation for a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, for a long fall song, I do appreciate that it wasn't 3 minutes of repeat the same lyrics over and over and over again, like he can do. It was good to hear the music.
He could have easily filled it up with more additional stanzas of the story, right? Because he could have done it, but he leaves the space and it becomes a groove. And then it's only just punctuated by his delivery, and I think it's a hilarious delivery of a line, "A new face in hell," which should be somewhat of a disturbing line, but the way he delivers it in that squeal is somewhat perfect, and somehow it fits perfectly. Even though the story is so dark too, the lyrics and the things he's talking about, the government coming and arresting this guy, almost like he's been framed, but then a new face in hell, he's popping it off and it's popping in there, and it's I don't know, I just really like that. It's almost like it's a little joke that, even though this is dark, it's also, it's almost like, oh, you knew that was going to happen, didn't you?
Yeah, right. It always does.
Yeah, it always does. And then the guitars on this are straight up like, this is straight up the Fall doing Velvet Underground. The jangly guitars, and there's like a droning kind of buzz throughout the whole song. So, and we know Mark is a big Velvet Underground fan, so it's not surprising.
Yeah, even with the effects on his lyrics and things like that, it was definitely out of the norm.
Yeah, and then he also plays some tape effects, I think, at the end. And even at the beginning a little bit too, doesn't he?
Yeah, kind of a couple of these songs have some tape effects dropped in the beginning where you're like, did I hear something? What was that?
And I like that. It's like residual audio, information that was just left. I mean, I like to think it was just left down there, but it probably was very intentional that he's like, added it at the beginning, added it at the end as the outro. But every time I listen to it, then I say, what is that? I almost feel like I'm getting some sort of interference, which is also very, very fitting to Mark and like we discussed at the beginning, he doesn't like stuff to be decipherable or even that clear.
No, yeah, it's open for interpretation, right? Like, what did it mean to you? How did you make you feel?
Yeah, or did you not hear that word right? That's better. That's the way it should be. That makes you want to dig further into it, or make up your own meaning further.
Sure, play it again. All right, like, let's see.
Flip it over. And we're not flipping it over yet, but we do have another long cut right here. C&CS Mithering. Is that how you say it? Yeah, C&CS Mithering.
I think so.
See ya, mate.
Yeah, see, mate. I like your singles.
See ya, mate. Yeah, see ya, mate. Yeah, see ya, mate. Maybe that should be our sign off for the show. Yeah, see ya, mate.
Yeah, see you, mate.
Yeah, see ya, mate. I like this. What's he getting at? What's he getting at with this one?
I mean,
This is a great gem though. This is where I feel like the album is, really starting.
I was gonna say
kicking gear.
he he lets the acoustic guitar, which I don't think we've had on a fall song yet.
Not where it's like the prevalent instrument, right? Exactly.
I mean, it honestly feels like he's just like reading from his angry journal. Like, okay, I'm just gonna let some feelings out here, guys. These are the things that have been pissing me off lately.
He is really taking down everything. He's taking down everything. There's like the American music industry. There's the British music in the British scene, which we already know he's not a fan of any scenes, but the British music scene, this industrial lifestyle that people are forced to live in. There's so much, and it's so good. This is like the pure fall song for me, where I'm like, this is one I might as well, put this on every morning to get just to get into it, just get into the right mindset.
To just be jaded enough throughout the day that you don't get stuck with that.
Yeah, just to see what pops up in what catches my ear and pops up that morning, and then go on with my day and say, fuck Californians.
I mean, he's even pissed at the
girl.
girl.
All they think about is sex.
He's even pissed at the girl vacuuming upstairs every 30 minutes. I mean, he doesn't let anything go.
I do like that it's so some of it is so broad, but then he adds all the details, which makes it so close, right? Like a vignette, all these little scenes. He's talking about like Herb Albert, I think, or Big. He calls him Big A&M. Herb was there. Big A&M. Herb was there, and his office had fresh air, but his roster was mediocre. U.S. dirge, rock, and pop filth. Oh man, it's so good. I love it. Oh, yeah. The vacuuming upstairs. Also, because we got our new boy. Paul Hanley in here on the drums, and he is just slow and steady in this groove, and he is just not. It's so much restraint. There's no fills, and we're talking about how 7.5 minutes, over 7.5 minute song, and I don't know. He goes dun 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 dun. Every once in a while, but I'm not even counting that as a fill. That's kind of just end of phrase, and then started it up again. And the acoustic guitar, I think I said on a previous album that anytime they're in any sort of almost country,
exactly,
it's gonna be good. If you get Cowboy Mark going, oh man, and this is Cowboy Mark. I mean, this is. He's rolling. He's on his horse and he's trotting along with this out-of-tune acoustic guitar accompanying him, and it's just so full. It's a great gem.
Yeah, exactly. He fills in the time well. It's there's not any fillers in there. It's just one line to the next that you're like, oh man, he's full of angst and anger. He's
full of a lot. He's got a lot.
People don't see things the right way, and they don't see it my way.
Nope.
He's mad at the audience, the music fans. Like, you're not liking the right stuff.
And this is where I do get some of the title of the album of the grotesqueness. Everything is painted with this palette of color that's off, right? That's slightly disgusting and filthy and he's just painting it with this vivid picture with it. And there's even there was one line where he repeats it. It was, I always thought it was something like the commercial is now experimental, but he's saying the conventional is now experimental, which is, it makes more sense. Those are actual opposites, but I think the commercial is now experimental would be a great album title for this album. You know, it's like it could have been, they could have tried to polish this up into something that was a little bit more user friendly, but why? It is what it is, right? They don't need to make it.
Exactly. Like he's
it's art.
He's allowed to do what he wants, right? Like to put this out on a label, you're like, huh? Is he talking about us?
His label reps are getting this. Yeah, they're getting the test pressing. Is it, Mark? We need to talk about anything?
Yeah, exactly. Mark? Are you mad at us?
Mark, we should just lay everything out on the table. You know, we're trying to help you out here. Do you want? Are you sure you want to burn all the bridges that you have in America where you haven't even gone yet? There's fucking burn it down.
Well, and
because when I come through, there's gonna be a whole new development going on.
And I mean, this is put out on Rough Trade Records, and I mean, one of the producers, Jeff Travis, is the founder of Rough Trade Records. So he's got the man in the studio with him while he stares him down, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's a good point to discuss too. This is their first release on Rough Trade, right? So this is the first of many jumping off. I shouldn't say jumping from label to label, but you know, it's the start of a pattern of where they're not going to stay put, right? They'll go to whatever next opportunity presents itself, and sometimes because they do exactly what the song is talking about is in burning those bridges and then moving forward and finding the next one that'll take them on.
I was going to say,
that goes for managers too.
Right? Yeah, and anything, right? Like this is how it's going to be. Either you're on board or you're not, but there's no wiggle room for, nope, we're not going to take that line out. I'm sorry.
It's already recorded. And the way the song ends, and you get a little more tape collage, I'll say, on this one, which is really good. And I can just imagine the producer being like, Mark, do we need this? You know? Do we really need this? And he's like, yeah, I fucking recorded this off my TV last night. We definitely need this. We definitely need this on there. Are you kidding me? Or I recorded myself in the kitchen while this recorder was going in the living room. Yeah, we definitely need this audio. This is, I'm never going to get this again. This is pristine stuff.
People are going to like it, I swear.
I swear. People are going to like it even years and decades from now. Centuries from now. Actually, people are going to prefer this. They're going to really appreciate this. And actually, I do believe that. I do believe there will be a nice little swing back from hyper pop music into, oh yeah, I want to listen to, like Mark says, pure trash. That is actually sounds like a human made it. You know, that's gonna be the swing back from the AI music.
Exactly. Once AI gets a hold of the trash, we should probably see if AI could write a fall song though for us before we just totally.
We should actually. That's a great idea. We should definitely do that. Let's see if AI can write a fall song, and I bet you they could get pretty. The AI algorithm could get pretty close with the lyrics, but to make something, I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Let's test it. Let's test it.
We'll have to. Yeah, we'll get some together. We'll our final episode will be the AI album dissection.
Dissection, yeah, the fall AI album.
I mean, AI is not known for their lyrical ability, but looking at some of these lyrics, they don't really need to make sense. There's a lot of weird shit that AI can spout out, just like Mark.
Yeah, that's the thing. But are they gonna? That's what I'm curious is. Will it spout out because it's gonna be referencing all of his work, and then it's gonna be putting together and just maybe the connection is, it is all random.
Yeah, is it how nonsensical
random.
will it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got that to look forward to for our Patreon subscribers. You get the fall AI album in your Dropbox soon. But I gotta say, before we wrap up this side with the last track on this side, the transition from the end of this song's CNCS Mithering into one of the best songs on the album for sure, the Container Drivers, the transition is seamless and
I
perfect.
couldn't even slow it down enough.
No. So let's get into the Container Drivers.
Cap off like £8,000, they sweat on their way down. They pot with customs bastards, hang around like clowns. They containers and their drivers. Containers and their drivers. Containers and their drivers. Bad indigestion, bad malretention. For their wages, sometimes on shirt sleeves, sometimes on shirt sleeves. Containers, and the drivers, containers, and the drivers.
Tell me you don't want to be driving down 55 in an 18-wheeler listening to that.
Oh, I mean, it is the perfect. Mark does like truck songs. Anything that's related to semi trucks, 18-wheelers driving, he's down for it. And then he said, "Fuck, I could write a fucking trucker song, easy." And his trucker song is probably the most filthy depiction of the lifestyle, which apparently he has some sort of affection for. They got bad bowel retention. They're getting speed for their wages. Big cigars come out of the ground, sweat on their way down. This is really what the lifestyle is about if you're driving these big rigs.
Yeah, I'm sure the American truck driver is a little different than the English truck driver, just distance and land use wise, right? But
yeah, it's more intense for American truck drivers. So I honestly think that's where he's coming from. I think he might be going for the American vibe here. Long distance. You got to get that speed. I mean, in the UK, you're not going to be going. They probably have better. Even back then in 1980, they probably had more lax laws than now, but they probably had a lot of probably good safety protocols in place. When in America in 1980, if you're a semi-driver, come on. Oh, you're going coast to coast, baby. You're going coast to coast, no sleep. You're going straight speed.
Got the speed for their wages. They got to go fast.
The drumming, I mean, I'm really digging this incarnation of the fall with Paul Hanley on these drums. No disrespect to Mike Lee, but but Paul Hanley with his brother on bass. I mean, you got the Hanley brothers on the rhythm section. You got that Blood Brother rhythm.
They do, yeah. Throughout the whole album, they carry each song like fantastically.
Yeah, it's like they say about that Blood harmony. When you get the Everly Brothers, they're just, you can not only get that harmony if you're related, you can only get the Fall brother rhythm section if you are that Blood rhythm if you are related. And Paul and Steve knocking it out. Working class heroes. And even I believe Steve Hanley gets some gets writer's credit on this one. Actually, they all do, minus Paul. Of course, Paul is not going to get it's the first album. Paul's not going to get the writer credit on the first album. He's just coming in there. Or maybe he was on Total's turns.
You don't know. You never know when you're going to be fired.
Yeah, and you don't really know which names Mark is going to put on the forms, the copyright forms. So, you just be thankful you're there and you're on that, and be proud that you made a great, really catchy, really hooky song that's much different than the rest of the album in general. But I'm surprised that they didn't use that as like a single.
Yeah, I mean it's good. I mean it's fast. It's certainly enjoyable.
Actually, I do assume that it's not giving the real aesthetic of what you actually get with the fall. So I understand they do want to just put it on, put it in the middle of the album as a little nugget to uncover, because if you got this as a single, it probably would sell, but if you got this as a single and then you went and sought out, even on the B side, if it's like Totally Wired on the B side,
yeah,
it would be a great A/B side, but you'd be like, whoa, is this a different band?
Sure. Yeah. If you sold them on that, they might not want to buy the other ones.
Yeah. You might be putting them off. So great side A. As we flip the record over, let's take a look at this album cover, this album artwork, and the album name in general. The grotesqueness plays itself out on these songs. Maybe not that last song so much, but the color is really fitting for the fall. They went from, remember, Live at the Witch Trials?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everything was black and white,
Dragnet,
right? Yeah.
black and white.
A little bit of
only
blue.
minimal color on the text. But this is the first one you get a lot of color.
It's the 80s. It's the 80s, baby.
Yeah, it's this. They started it up. They brought the color in right away. And Rough Trade maybe gave them a little extra production cash.
You can use the inkjet printer.
Yeah, you can get fine. You can hire your sister. you can hire your sister to paint this. And I guess this was a drawing, or it's based on. So, Mark's sister made this album cover, but it's based on a drawing that Mark did, which explains a lot when you look at it. Because there's a lot going on. You got old cheetah pants, pink guy with the long neck, moon in the background, a couple of other characters that are one looking at a mirror.
Oh, is that what's going on? I thought he was pinching her nipple.
Oh, yeah.
It's a mirror. It's a mirror. You're right.
It's something in the hand.
Yeah, it's a mirror.
And now, is that a cassette tape? That's an orange little cassette tape? What do you think that is?
It looks like a cassette tape.
Yeah, it looks like a little tape.
Mark is on the tapes quite a bit, so he
that's what I was thinking.
To highlight it.
That's what I was thinking too. And then up in the corner is, I believe that is your container driver truck driving down the road.
Just cruising along. I like the highlight, the visual, the zoom in on the freckles is appreciated. Those are freckles, yes.
Yes, that's right. And then the way that it's the composition of this album cover is we got the singer on the right edge of this album cover with the microphone. This, I have to assume, is Mark.
Yeah.
If you look closely, you can see the hair is it looks similar to Mark's. He's got the nice complexion that Mark would have, slightly yellow complexion. And then you have maybe one of the backing band members behind him. And the crowd, there is a crowd back there in the shadows. And so this looks like it's almost like a fall gig, doesn't it? They got the crowd back there.
That's them, huh?
Yeah, this is what I'm putting together.
That's what I like it.
It almost looks like this line going down too is like the stage, and like they're in the front row. The the perspective is not what I would call realistic. But the Mark's head is bigger than half the people that are in the front row. But I mean, I like this. I like this a lot. It's the first album cover where I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
that would be the one I would pick up actually.
yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic looking album. I mean, just the colors.
Yeah, the colors.
I believe the back side has pictures of the band. I was looking around.
Oh yeah, let me look at the rear.
Took a little bit of searching to find it out, but
I mean, even though it's so vibrant with these colors, it's not psychedelic, right? It does have a hallucinatory feel because these characters are really bizarre looking in their proportions, but it's not psychedelic like flowery. It does have that look. Let me look at the back here. Let me see what we're getting on the back. Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
just some casual enjoyment photos, you know?
Yeah, chill band photo. Having a pint, smoking a cig.
Sleeping. Dead, maybe.
Why is there a partially covered up photo of a guy just like passed out, like his head is on the carpet? Oh man, who is that? I want to know who that is. And then a picture of, looks like Manchester, I'm guessing. Looks beautiful. A picture of Mark, black and white photo of Mark, which is a nice one, which maybe they should have just gone with that one. This collage. But it's good. Place and time. Yeah, I like that. Shall we flip it?
Let's flip it over.
All right. What are we starting off with? Side B.
The Impression of J. Temperance.
Wide for dog breeder in the town of Ports. I've never seen.
Thanks for joining us for side A of this album. If you'd like to hear some more, jump on Patreon and join us as a free member or a paid member to get all of the episodes and hear. Oh, fuck it. Until next time, we are the fall and we are the best.